I used to believe that love meant sacrifice, that if you gave enough, people would eventually see your worth. I was wrong. My name is Shelley Gray, 34 years old, a software engineer from Charleston, South Carolina. For 5 years, I worked myself to the bone. Long hours, late nights, code running through my veins like caffeine, just to keep my parents' house from collapsing under their mortgage. Every paycheck, I'd send money home. Sometimes half, sometimes more. "You're such a blessing," Mom would say, her voice syrupy sweet. But deep down, I knew it wasn't gratitude. It was expectation. It started small. A few $100s here, a temporary loan there. Then Dad lost his job, and suddenly I was covering everything. The house payment, insurance, groceries, even the water bill. I told myself it was family. That's what family does, right? They help each other. Except, in my family, help was a one-way street. My younger brother Eric didn't lift a finger. He lived at home rent-free, drifting between business ideas that went nowhere. Mom called her dreamer. I called him expensive. I remember the first time I made the full mortgage payment. $3,000 wired straight from my account to theirs. I cried that night, not because of the money, but because I was proud. I was saving our home. I thought they'd be proud too. They were, for a while. But appreciation faded fast. Soon it wasn't, "Thank you." It was, "The bank called. Can you cover this?" My generosity became their safety net. And eventually, their entitlement. Every Sunday evening, I'd drive to Charleston for dinner. Mom would serve roast chicken, Dad would pour wine, and they'd smile just enough to keep me hooked. But I noticed things. A new TV, fresh landscaping, Eric's latest gadget or designer sneakers. I never asked, but I always knew where the money came from. One Sunday evening changed everything. I was sipping iced tea when Eric dropped his bomb. "So, I'm getting married," he said, grinning. "We're moving into the house after the wedding." I blinked. "What do you mean, moving in?" Mom placed her napkin down like a judge about to deliver a verdict. "Sweetheart, it's time you get your own place. You've done so much for us, but Eric needs stability now, you understand." Understand? I paid for that stability. I paid for the roof they were living under. I forced a smile, my throat tightening. "You're giving him the house?" Dad cleared his throat. "Well, technically, it's our house. You've just been helping." Helping! That word burned. Like 5 years of work meant nothing. Eric leaned back, smirking. "Come on, Shell, you'll be fine. You've got money." I laughed, one sharp broken sound. "You think I did all this because I have money? I did it because no one else would." Mom's expression hardened. "Don't ruin this night with drama," she said softly. Drama? I wasn't dramatic. I was done. That night, I packed a suitcase and left. No one stopped me, not even Mom. The porch light flickered behind me as I got in my car, my hands trembling. 5 years of loyalty, erased with one dinner. The next morning, I checked my account. The automatic mortgage payment was still pending. I stared at the numbers, my chest tight. Then, with one tap, I canceled it. It was the smallest click I had ever made, but it felt like cutting a chain. Days passed. Silence from my parents. Then came the call. Mom's voice sharp as glass. "The bank called. You missed the payment. They're threatening foreclosure." I closed my laptop calmly. That's not my problem anymore. She gasped. "How can you say that? We'll lose everything." "You already gave it away," I said, and hung up. A week later, Eric texted me. "You're heartless. We might have to move out. I hope you're happy." I didn't reply. I was learning that silence could be a boundary. 3 months went by. I moved into a small apartment downtown, bare walls, secondhand furniture, but peace for the first time in years. I could finally buy things for myself. A new laptop, fresh flowers, coffee that didn't taste like regret. Every item I bought felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. But peace doesn't last forever. One afternoon, a letter arrived from the bank. My parents had refinanced the house years ago, using my payments as proof of income. My name wasn't on the deed, but my credit was tied to the loan. They'd used me. I sat there staring at the paper, my hands cold. They hadn't just taken my money, they'd risked my future. I could have ruined my credit for a home I didn't even own. Rage doesn't even cover it. It was betrayal, the kind that hollows you out. I drove straight to their house. The lawn was overgrown, the blinds were shut. Eric's car was gone. When Mom opened the door, her eyes went wide. "Shelley, I was just about to call." "Don't," I said. My voice didn't shake this time. "You used my income, my credit, without asking?" She sighed. "We did what we had to. Your family." "No, family doesn't steal your future and call it love." I called the bank that night and froze the account, documented everything, and removed my name from any shared record. It took hours, but when it was done, I felt lighter than I had in years. A month later, the house went into foreclosure. Eric blamed me online, posted a long rant calling me a traitor. Old classmates messaged me, asking if it was true. I ignored them all. Let them believe whatever story he needed to tell. I was done performing the role of savior. I started therapy. At first, I didn't know what to say. I just cried. For the lost years, for the love I'd begged for the version of myself that thought she had to earn affection with sacrifice. My therapist asked, "What does freedom look like to you?" I thought for a long time before answering. "Peace," I said. And no more apologies. 2 years later, I moved to Austin, Texas. A new job, a new apartment, new life. No more shared bank accounts, no more guilt. I built everything from scratch. Alone, but strong. I even started a savings account labeled "For Me." Last Christmas, Mom texted from an unknown number. "We miss you. The holidays aren't the same without you." I stared at the message for a while, then typed a reply. "I miss what we could have been." Then I hit delete instead of send. Some goodbyes don't need to be said out loud. Now, on quiet Sundays, I make my own dinner. I light a candle, pour a glass of wine, and sit at my small table overlooking the Austin skyline. I used to dread silence. Now it feels like peace. Sometimes I think back to that night in Charleston. The flicker of the porch light, the sound of my car door closing, the moment I chose myself for the first time. And I realized something powerful. They didn't kick me out. They set me free. The end.